Welcome in. It's good to see you. I feel like I can see you. I can see you. The message for me today and for you guys, for me to pass on to you guys, is that you don't have to strive for anything. You know, you don't have to try to chase down enlightenment or, you know, peel back the layers of yourself to get to the essential thing. It's in you. It's already shining into the world. You're tapping into source energy, and it's your birthright. I'm going to try, because I have a feeling that the energies are really entangled between you and somebody else. And so I'm going to try to separate out yours from theirs. Because sometimes it gets so confusing and just doing the singular spread. So let's start with you and where you're at. What's your trajectory? Eight of Cups. Well, I think you're looking for a higher love. You're on a journey to discover something more aligned with your heart. You may have been in a place that was cold or with people who were cold. Or you may have shut down your heart for some reason as a kind of protective thing. In protective mode. Yeah, you're moving on to something calmer and clearer. You know, and it's both your consciousness and your heart, your kind of emotional intelligence. Queen of Wands. That doesn't surprise me. That's an empowered, mystical, divine feminine energy. In the sense of receptive, able to read the energies, to read the room. And there's something about moving on to a calmer, more open-hearted place. To meet up perhaps with somebody who's like-minded, sword energy. And willing to love and be loved. You may be manifesting this person, but if you're not, you're good on your own. You're empowered by yourself. You know, your own source energy. You don't need to look outside yourself. You know, whatever the source energy is, it's identical with you. It's identical with you. So let's look at whoever this person is. Could be, okay. Devil. Three of Swords. Wow. Three of Pentacles. I'm sorry, Page of Pentacles. You could say it's somebody who's stuck, who's afraid, who hasn't freed themselves from perhaps an addiction. Devil can mean that, you know, who's just finds it safer to stay still rather than to try to work themselves out of some situation. could be you're dealing with a heartbreaker. You know, or somebody who wants to hang on to their pain or mask their pain. This guy's wearing the big mask. This can mean shadow work. Who needs to do, you know, work to recognize what holds them back. To be able to look at and understand that there's something they think they can't live without. And you're in this energy of movement toward a higher love. They may be in some kind of hurtful codependent stance. Page of Pentacles. I mean, they may be just beginning to get their footing. Maybe starting to make a little offer, perhaps to make up for the hurt they've dealt. That hurt caused them to contract devil energy, where you're in the flow. And you know your own power. Okay, let's look at the Eight of Cups. You know, you're moving on, perhaps to something more open and open-hearted. Wheel of Fortune. Moving on. Walking the karmic path. You're in search of higher love. And they may be too afraid to embark on that journey. And this is almost like you're halfway there. You've pushed off from one place and you're in that liminal space headed towards something else. That's a good thing. It's fortunate. You know, you got some kind of reprieve, or you dodged a bullet. On Queen of Wands, please. Hierophant. I mean, either you're sort of escaping an old way of thinking about things that had to do with tradition. You know, you're bucking the system somehow. And you may be moving on, Six of Swords, to a deeper commitment or a higher level commitment, and it's more a mystical energy than a traditional, you know, you're not listening to the church to tell you, the church. You're not interested in orthodoxy. You're interested in going your own way. Empowered to do that. And this can be a card of destiny. Like you're moving right into it. You're leaving something behind. It also could be even leaving behind a marriage, a traditional relationship. Maybe that's somebody wasn't willing to go with you, or, you know, wanted to stay where they already were. you're on some kind of spiritual quest, I think. 8 of Cups, Hierophant. Okay, on 6 of Swords. On 6 of Swords, 3 of Cups. Well, that's a card of happiness and connection. Your energy's looking pretty good, sweetie. It's a card of friendship, of feeling joyful. Moving toward joy. That's your path. And I think it's going your own way. Hierophant can refer to the hierarchy. You know, and the church has always had trouble with somebody who feels that they are empowered themselves. They don't need an intermediary. 3 of Cups, it's kind of the freedom to love. Okay. How about this Devil energy? The person who's stuck. If he's stuck because they're afraid, they've been hurt and they're afraid. So they're only going to give a little bit. They have a choice. You know, the paths are diverging. They have to decide which way to go. Do I set myself free? Can I work that hard? Capricorn is a hard-working energy to extricate. Somebody needs to extricate themselves from maybe from a toxic situation, from a neediness, from an addiction of some kind. And it's, I think, an attempt to mask their pain. Whatever this is, whatever they're hanging on to. And it could be a substance, or it could just be a traditional way of doing things. You know, habitual in that sense of habit. But up ahead, there's a decision, there's a fork in the road. Can you tell us about this giving a little bit in the same energy as Devil, the Capricorn energy of perhaps once this person has begun the work of getting themselves free and of recognizing their role in something, they can then offer a little bit. I don't think it's enough to have you, to bring you back into this perhaps codependent relationship. I think you've already moved on. Okay. On Page of Pentacles, I don't know why I keep wanting that to be 3 of Pentacles, but 4 of Swords. Yeah, I think they may be in the process of you know, trying to recharge after the hurt. 3 of Swords, 4 of Swords. They're trying to heal perhaps the hurt they've done to you or to themselves through this fixation on something. There was something they thought they couldn't live without. I think it was like a substance or a habitual pattern. Six of Wands. Moving on from a struggle. Perhaps after they've healed. It's still going to be offering a little bit. And I'm not sure it's enough to change your trajectory, your momentum to move forward. They are quiet because they're trying to heal. I don't think they want you to know about. I think they're ashamed of some kind of addiction or toxicity that they perhaps brought into your life. Do you know your own power, Queen of Wands? And they might be trying to decide, which path do I take to get out of this addiction and to come, they can feel your pull. It's a powerful, you're drawing them forward somehow. You're presenting this choice to them: stay stuck or move forward. It'll be a struggle to get free. Move forward from the pain, from the memory of pain. Heal yourself. Okay, let's get a couple for the relationship. This could be somebody you're married to, or were married to. I'm not sure. Hierophant can mean that. Traditional relationship. For the connection, please. Wow. Tower. Can't go back. There was something in this relationship that was perhaps too traditional. Because tower can mean a constricted thing, something that's too small. Devil is constriction. This is almost like the escape. Some kind of emotional escape, emotional, something was inherently unstable and it came crashing down. And I think it liberated you. 8 of Cups, 6 of Swords, 3 of Cups, Whale. So you were free to go. Queen of Cups. I see Tower as a card of Scorpio, of feelings energy, of transformational energy, water energy. So there you are, going in search of love, higher love. You've got a lot to give. You're open-hearted, and you're somehow liberated. But interestingly enough, 15 in Major Arcana is Devil. 16 in Major Arcana is Tower. They may want to follow. And there's often Tower, yeah. Look at that, Tower has the lightning bolt. And I don't know if you can see it, but in Queen of Cups, another lightning bolt. Whatever happens, they're not going to keep you stuck. They can choose to heal. They can choose to move forward out of pain. You're already on the path. Yeah, they have some catching up to do because they've been stuck a long time. And there's that 3 of Pentacles I kept seeing. In my mind's eye. That's a card of cooperation in 3D, being able to work with somebody who knows what love is. And conceivably, this is in the future, should they free themselves, you can work together. Maybe even struggle together to blow up the old paradigm. It may have been too traditional a relationship, or it was a habitual somehow, like you were going through the motions. Going through the motions, which is interesting because this is doing it the same way, being stuck in a pattern. And they have to make a decision to move forward. They can't go backwards, and neither can you. They can't go backwards. Card of the Fool, first card in the Major Arcana. That willingness to take the risk and begin. Card of Aries, to take the leap. They may be ready to take a leap into some kind of 3D cooperation with you. They can get unstuck if they're willing to take the risk. It seems to me you've already, you're already open-hearted. Queen of Cups. Are they brave enough to, not to follow, but to fight for this, to fight to free themselves, to make a choice to liberate. And I think it's sort of a to-be-continued situation, because there's still these two paths and a decision needs to be made. Am I ready to heal? I'll see you next time.